in education when one has such a personality, such a profile, such a physique? Why, he is a natural-born actor, right, Gideon? And not just an actor, an entrepreneur, nay, an influencer!
Oh my god, Disney should be so embarrassed. Listen, y'all. Last night I watched Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio on Netflix. You know, I love Guillermo del Toro. I think he's probably one of the best directors working today, and I expected the movie to be good, and it was. In fact, it was so good, I was like, okay, Pinocchio, I forgot this is kind of a good story. So I traveled over to Disney Plus to go watch Disney's live action Pinocchio, a movie they just released 2 months ago, and the stark contrast in quality was jaw-dropping. Never has it been more obvious that Disney has become a corporate soulless machine than comparing Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which was expertly crafted with love and passion, compared to whatever the heck they just released on Disney Plus, which feels like they just made it on some sort of Disney Plus machine factory. There's no warmth or soul in that film at all. Seeing these two movies side by side is what inspired me to make this video to explain to you why I think these two movies are the perfect example of why Disney has fallen from such high graces. To really show you how bad Disney's corporate remakes have gotten, all we need to do is compare Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio with the first act of Disney's Pinocchio. Firstly, I have to say, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio starts off with a huge wallop of emotion. It starts off showing Geppetto hanging out with his son. You get to know their father-son dynamic. You really get to care about the son. So when he dies, spoiler alert, you really feel emotionally invested and you understand Geppetto's pain and how badly he would want his son back because you saw how much he loved his son. You know, you saw it. It didn't just tell you how much he missed him. Compare that to Tom Hanks' Geppetto, who the movie literally starts off with him muttering exposition about how much he misses his son.
Thinking way back when, I'm missing him again. So young, songs unsung. Oh, what might have been.
You don't even get to really see his son except in a picture. Right off the bat, I'm already less emotionally invested in Tom Hanks' Geppetto because he comes across as a bit of a stuttering fool, and I don't get any sense that he's grieving because all we've really heard from him is that he misses his son through muttering exposition. This is in stark contrast to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, where we literally see Geppetto become a disheveled former self of a man as he's deep in depression, turned to alcoholism, turned to church. I mean, Guillermo del Toro really doesn't shy away from the darker subjects, but I think it makes the story all that more emotional and impactful. There is no emotion so far in Disney's Pinocchio because all they wanted to do is go straight into the Pinocchio we know and the nostalgia factor and everything. There's no emotion to it. I would also like to point out that both Jiminy Cricket and Pinocchio have this awful CGI sheen to it because both characters are just digitally created. Paired again to Guillermo del Toro's characters, which are physical puppets that people can actually touch and manipulate. Yes, I know one is stop motion, which lends itself to being more tactile, but there's no reason why the live action Pinocchio for Disney couldn't have used a real Pinocchio puppet. His eyes are so soulless. You can literally see the CGI digital sheen over his face, and it just takes me out of the movie entirely. I mean, even the freaking cat, Geppetto's cat has super CGI, and you don't even believe it because it just looks really glossy and there's no physics. It looks lazy and they didn't really take the time to actually make the CGI good. I'm not saying CGI is bad, but when you can clearly tell the director and the people involved don't even care to make sure that the CGI is presentable, that speaks a lot to the quality of the movie. And right off the bat, again, I can't even care about Disney's Pinocchio because you can tell that no one's actually there and there's no life behind his eyes. Compare that to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, where del Toro literally talks about in the making of that you can literally see the characters thinking in their eyeballs by how their irises twitched, and you can just see the level of detail and quality that went into that movie versus Disney's.
I said, if the character is thinking, I want to see the eyes inputting the information. I want to see a subtle shift. If you animate the ordinary, you will achieve something extraordinary.
They didn't have to go that far with the realism, but they chose to because you can tell the filmmakers behind the movie actually care about what they're making. Disney just wanted another piece of content to fill their streaming service. I would also like to point out that Disney's Pinocchio, within the first 10 minutes of the movie, we've only seen the inside of Geppetto's house, where in the first 10 minutes of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, we've already seen the town, we've got a sense of world, we've got a sense of multiple different characters, whereas Disney's Pinocchio at this point is is literally just racing through all the same plot points we saw in the animated film. But they made sure to have a bunch of Disney Easter eggs though, because that's important, right? Fast forward literally 30 freaking minutes into the movie, and Pinocchio and Geppetto finally leave the house. Although I wish I could say the movie got better from now, but in fact it just got much, much worse. As per the original story goes, Pinocchio is supposed to go off to school, where along the way to school he runs into some sketchy characters who want to use Pinocchio's oddity for their own benefit. Except Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio deals with this so much better. In Guillermo del Toro's version, Pinocchio is forced to go to school because in fascist Italy, all little boys have to go to school and basically be brainwashed by the regime. That adds a whole new level of detail, world building, immersion. I'm suddenly much more excited because if Pinocchio doesn't go to school, then Geppetto could literally go to jail, so there's added tension and stakes. And on top of that, the book that Geppetto gives Pinocchio to go to school with is actually the book that belonged to his former son, so there's also an emotional attachment to it. It just set up so much better than Disney's Pinocchio, and not just that it's the same plot points from the animated film, but the dialogue is also objectively awful. There are so many modern references and jokes that it completely dates the film.
We need a simple, strong stage name. Slab Oakley. Chad Log? I've got it. Chris Pine. Nah, it'd never work.
There's a whole bunch of jokes that don't need to be in a movie that takes place way in the past. But this is why I consider that movie to be cynical, because the whole time the movie is just winking and nodding to the audience, you've seen this movie, you know what we're talking about, you get these jokes. And I'm like, I just want a good story, man. I want to be immersed in your world. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is an instant classic. You could show that movie at any time period and it works. I mean, it's just night and day. Not to mention Disney's Pinocchio is also just so plainly lit. It's visually uninteresting to look at. And then you look at Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, where every frame could be a work of art on its own. Again, you could just plainly see how much work, detail, and passion went into Guillermo del Toro's version than the Disney Plus one, because the difference is just so dramatic. But the one difference that really did it for me, that really made me go, all right, I need to go to YouTube and make a video. There was a point in the Disney Plus Pinocchio version where there was a very similar scene, the one that was in Guillermo del Toro's version, except they're so just dramatically different. The one in Disney Plus is so bad compared to the one in Guillermo del Toro's version is so good, even though it's basically the same scene. It was just shocking to me. And this is the scene I was talking about. Just watch.
No! No, don't do this!
You tell him that I will send him money. And tell him I love him. And I won't be a burden anymore.
No!
It was you could have made something so good, but you went out of your way to make it so bad. One was treated much more seriously and less like a joke, adding emotional and dramatic weight to the scene. And the other one was so overly dramatically comedic that it was almost like an SNL joke. What was the no? Who does that? It's just bizarre to me. Am I making too much out of these scenes? But it's basically the same scene, but one is just so much better. And honestly, it was this awful scene of the Disney Plus show where I was like, okay, I think I've seen enough. Yeah, these live action remakes, they have a bad rap, but I honestly think this is the worst one. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio just proved why. You can make a good adaptation out of a story we already know, add your own flavor to it, add your own authorial voice, give it some life, some creativity. That's everything Guillermo del Toro just did. But Disney was like, nah, we're just gonna give them some Easter eggs and some lame modern references about influencers, because that's what the kids like. It's just so corporate and out of touch, and it makes me sad that this is where Disney is at these days. Disney used to be a company known for innovating, yet now they're just kind of putting out the same schlock every week. So what happened and how did we get here? I want Disney to go back to really caring about story first and less about nostalgia and Easter eggs, because I really feel like that's what this era of Disney is all about. We can talk a lot about the Marvelization of Hollywood. In fact, that's an entirely separate video. Subscribe if you want to see that video. But I can really see it in Disney's other properties. And you can even see it in this movie because it has cringy Marvel-like humor.
I'm the blue fairy.
I'm the blue fairy.
No, I'm the blue fairy.
No, I'm the blue fairy.
Oh, I see what the problem is here.
Unless Disney goes back to truly being an innovative, creative company again, I think the decline that we're seeing with Disney movies is just gonna keep going. But at least we're still getting good movies like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio on Netflix, which you should definitely watch. But what do you guys think? Do you guys see what I mean when I say like these movies are becoming so corporate and soulless? Did you like Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio? Did you like the Disney Plus Pinocchio? I don't see how, but if you do, please let me know in the comments because I genuinely want to know why you like that movie. Also, subscribe to my channel. I do videos multiple times a week, so if you like this video, please subscribe. Please like this video. And my name is Brittany. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.